Good to see you, man.
This is the worst way to start season 2, guys. Good to see you.
I mean, yeah, long time no talk, and we couldn't wait to be back for another season. Potentially a very, very interesting season.
It's not potentially, bro. It's already a really, really interesting season, guys. Like,
Yes,
who are we gonna have today in the podcast?
we're gonna have Pedro from Anitya, and
Exactly.
yeah, like I look forward to what we're going to do this season and in this episode.
Yeah.
But like for this season in particular, we have a lot of things cooking.
Yes. A lot
So
of surprises, a lot of alpha.
yeah, and we'll still continue to learn things by doing and like raw dog a lot of stuff, but it feels
I think curvier.
it feels exciting, and I think this little 1 month hiatus or whatever it was did a lot of good for us in terms of we were sidelined in a lot of stuff in a sense. The market went to shit as soon as we stopped, with season 1.
Yeah.
And
We came back.
Yeah.
We came back to save the market. You're gonna see in Wednesday. So today is gonna be Wednesday. I'm gonna say today because it's dropping on Wednesday.
yeah,
The market's gonna perform well. Take my word for it. That's one. Second, if you
NFA.
guys NFA, if you guys didn't enjoy hearing and watching us only on X, now we're gonna be everywhere. We're gonna be on Apple Podcasts. We're gonna be on Spotify. We're gonna be on Abstract potentially. We're gonna be on Base App. We're gonna be on YouTube. We're gonna probably be on TikTok.
We're gonna be at your house at one point.
Website. We're gonna have a new website. We're gonna be at your house, as he said. We're gonna take your dog. If you have a cat, that's better. We're gonna take your cat as well. If you get in your car at night, you're gonna see me in the back seat talking about crypto. So, and Jan in the passenger seat, just being a passenger princess because he loves that shit. He never lets me get the passenger seat, for fuck's sake. So yeah, we're expanding.
Yeah.
I'm watching Succession, and I can't stay without talking like a corporate piece of shit. So let's continue with the call with Pedro.
Yeah.
I'm really excited, and let's see. I'm gonna say the catchphrase of season 1. So let's see how this goes. Hello, Pedro. Welcome to Hodl Up, and thank you for being the first guest, basically, for the season 2, because we just started season 2, and we're really, really honored to have you.
Nice, yeah.
Begin this nice season.
I'm super excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
We always try to keep this. I mean, this hasn't changed from season 1, right? Because we changed a lot of things about how we approach these podcasts, but this hasn't. How did you get into crypto? Like, what did you do before crypto? Because we want to get the full picture of your, let's say, reason and goal and mission in crypto, right? In Web3, in this huge industry.
Huge. I think we're not huge yet. We still to become huge. Yeah. So I got into crypto. I think like to my story. I got first exposed to crypto in 2011. Like I really started because I was very much curious about new things, and I happened to be running a co-working space in Berlin, and in that co-working space there were a lot of crypto people at the beginning, crypto people hanging out, and I was just chatting with them. They were like creating all this crypto stuff, and I was like, what is this? Obviously I didn't fully understand how it works and what it was, because it was very abstract, and these people were let's say special in a sense that they became very big, but they were special in the sense that they were like way too ahead of the curve. So they were very nerdy, and I was not so nerdy in that particular subject. So I got curious because I think my thesis is like, look, I'm very much interested in all kinds of things in the world. In like, I love history, I love philosophy, I love geopolitics, and like I love to look at the past and how things evolved in the world, and where is history taking us in the future, and think critically about what does that mean, right? And once I understood that, like, basically with blockchain you are able to solve an issue that is like something that humanity had not yet been able to solve, which is being able to like create a system that you do not depend on a third party certifier, so you do not depend on a centralized system in order to create agreements between endless amount of people. I was like, oh, this is really good, because basically if I look into the future, it's like the more technology we have, the more potential totalitarianism, the more potential, like the more technological we are, the more likely we are for some sort of like worldwide disasters, power hungry thing, governments that we really crush it. So I saw crypto back then as like a technological infrastructure that could potentially enable a new society, in a sense that we would be able to like not need the government or need the infrastructure that we could kind of collectively own, and then we could kind of have a community owned infrastructure. And this was also very connected to my ethos of how I was seeing like the creation of space. We had 2 spaces in Berlin, and we were very much community driven, and I was very much working in the social, like almost social sector, in the sense that we were like creating space for people, right? And so that was getting me super excited about this. And I was like, this technology is really the future. There's so much to be explored here, and like I was like, I really want to pay attention. I really want to understand more. And obviously back then we already thought this is going to go much faster, and yet we're still here, like another 14 years later, like still waiting for it to go mainstream, but like a long way, right? We've gone a long way now. So that was my first kind of thing, like more the philosophical thinking that got me into this technology, and really like looking at it as a potential protection technology towards a totalitarian future. And I think like it's still valid, and it becomes ever more valid. I mean, you also guys living in the EU, you know what they're trying to do with our communication and with like all CBDCs and so on. So I think one also has to differentiate what crypto at blockchain technology is, and what like a centralized blockchain like that even like Chinese government runs, or like, you know, like all the EU wants to do this kind of CBDC stuff, that like it's basically surveillance stuff, right? So I think like I am on the side of like crypto being this technology that really empowers people. And I think like I believe in a more decentralized world. I think it would be super cool that the world can not be like, can be more like, have more diversity around things. I believe life emerged and thrived through diversity, right? If you look at the history of life, because we diversified our strategies by becoming different species and whatever, we kind of create a balance. And I think for humanity to thrive, we need to also create this sort of diversity. And if we centralize too much the power, that decreases. So therefore it is good. So that's my philosophical framing for that. So that's but then of course it comes with a lot of other consequences and things that I don't think are great, but like the price of independence and potentially like diversifying strategies is priceless.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like people are losing the plot in a way when it comes to the decentralization ethos that crypto once, stood for. Because if you think about the CARF reporting, the crypto asset reporting framework that will be like live in the next couple of years, every single exchange will automatically report all of your transactions. So and people don't talk a lot about that. They did raise their voice for CBDCs, for example, and rightfully so, but I don't see a lot of people criticizing that aspect of it. They were just fine with all the regulation that comes, and the institutionalization of crypto in a way. It kind of it doesn't feel the same anymore, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, man. like look alone with BlackRock ETFs, right? If you look at like this incentive that now if you have an ETF and you have been holding Bitcoin, you can just move it to the ETF, and then basically you can have a tax-free, like basically don't need to pay tax on these capital gains, and then move it to this like BlackRock ETF, and then you can collateralize it because you are in the traditional financial system. And then all this like a bunch of like old OG Bitcoin holders are like, oh, I want money, I want normal money, I want to collateralize that shit. And then all of a sudden we like centralizing the ownership of something that like comes from white paper that is directly criticizing the financial system and trying to create an alternative. It's how like if like capitalism is very amazing at co-opting everything, right? It's like capitalism is very good at like taking whatever in whatever ways, and like, you know, even I love the idea of like Che Guevara t-shirt, you know. Che Guevara was like a very leftist guy, but then now he becomes a marketing t-shirt, and then like, you know, like he doesn't matter what, he's gonna be co-opted towards the, and obviously there's a lot of interest in the world. And I think like in particular, like specifically with the US, like I think, I mean, I've been like just speculating, I think the Americans are trying to play this crypto to kind of get themselves out of the debt, right? Maybe they will play the Bitcoin or like gold/Bitcoin. They will revalue that to restructure their budget and then decrease their debt. You know, like there's a lot of theses on this, and there are a lot of people talking about it. I don't know if you looked into it. So I think like right now it might be like that's what's interesting because it's gonna become mainstream, but like it's a different mainstream. Like I remember back in time when sharing economy came or whatever, renting economy. I was very excited about it. It's like, oh, everybody gonna be able to share everything and it's gonna future. But then it's like, look at right now, like Airbnb is more expensive than a hotel, you know? It's like, it all kinds of goes in this way. So it's hard. It's a cynical thing that I'm being, but like, yeah, I still believe there is a lot to be done in that industry, and it's a great technology. We need privacy in the future. We need to find privacy within the technological world, and I think crypto offers this. We need to have infrastructure that is collectively owned, not just like, yeah. And so I think this is really cool, and systems that cannot be shut down. That's really cool.
Yeah, and at times it feels like the governments are like 5 years ahead of us in terms of what's going to happen, especially in terms of regulation and all that. And it kind of feels like they know that this was going to happen, but like I watched a lot of dystopian movies, so you get where I'm coming from. But like I want to talk about something. You mentioned that you've been here in this space since 2011, and I joined in 2020, and to me it felt like I was early, but now here at your store, like you've been here since day zero, basically, you know, from the beginning. And in terms of the user experience, like I envy newcomers because they don't have to necessarily learn all the stuff that happens in the background, you know, and it's better for them, but at the same time, sometimes they do not understand how things work. And you've mentioned that you've used like these philosophical schools of thoughts or discourses in terms of shaping what you have done so far. And like I was looking at the Anitya name in particular, and the Anitya name in itself draws like from the concept of impermanence. And like, how has that philosophy shaped your approach to building the digital worlds that like feel transient but still like rewarding in a way?
Thanks. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Anicca is a Hindu concept that like it's also a big concept in Buddhism, and it's one of those like important truth, that Buddha identified, which is like that the nature of everything is impermanent, right? So I think that is an interesting idea in any direction, right? So if you are under totalitarian state, like things will change eventually. If you are under a good thing, it will change. Whatever happens, we cannot grab it and cling to it, because inevitably everything is just only changing, and we need to. I think that's an important awareness for everything, right? Because then you relax a bit more in a sense that you can't control, like it's a flow, it's a river of things happening. But like in the context of what we are doing, like I think it's just a reminder, firstly, about that, because I think it's an important concept, but also it's just as we are building a tool for people to reshape the future interactions in terms of how we're going to interact with machines, interact with reality, with like we're creating another layer of virtual impermanence on top of like it's like a meta impermanence, right? Because it's like the virtual impermanence on top of like an impermanent reality. It's almost like in impermanence, yeah, it's like basically the simulation of the simulation of like, and then this staying as a reminder that like, yeah, it's all gonna shift and change.
Well, as above, so below. I don't know how this ties specifically to the conversation, but I'm trying to sound smart.
It is good.
So I really want to go back to the point that you mentioned in terms of privacy, right? And I will go back to impermanence and then Anitya as well. So I know Satoshi in one of his emails, because I'm really like, I'm a nerd when it comes to Satoshi and Bitcoin and everything. I don't know the tech side, but I don't know, I just love the whole concept, just as you, like the freedom and the decentralization and everything. So in one of his emails, Satoshi said that one of the next big issues and challenges for Bitcoin devs will be, the future Bitcoin builders will be privacy, right? Because Bitcoin is transparent. The whole ledger is transparent. I know it was designed to be transparent, but not as transparent as it is today. Because the thing is, everyone can know if, good private investigators, on-chain investigators can find out who. So, yeah. So, do you think that Bitcoin should move towards a more private upgrade, like let's say a fork, or should people just try and diversify their portfolios to private by default blockchains? Because this is a really hot topic right now on crypto Twitter.
I know.
And not many people are talking about it, but like the people who are talking about it, they're like, I think, important and influential in the space. So what's your take?
Oh, well, my take on this is that like, I don't know if the role of Bitcoin is now to be private right now, where it stands. It's just like, yeah, I don't know, like, because I think the role of Bitcoin right now, as it stands in the context of the world, is just to create a game where, like, crypto becomes the ultimate way for the financial systems of the world to run. And potentially Bitcoin will become some sort of like reserve of some countries like in El Salvador and so on, and will institutionalize and will be controlled. I think Bitcoin is going to be controlled by corporate interest. It's all like I have a hard time seeing, like, it's gonna go up in value, but like it's, so I don't see it as being that solution. It's like way too much already on that road. But like it still serves the purpose of like getting a lot of, like, you need somebody to kind of get the regulations going, get the things going, and then you have like Monero, Zcash, whatever, all sort of other ways to do that. And I think like, like whenever we need it, it will happen, like whenever people start like, look what's already happening in UK, like people being persecuted for all kinds of stuff all over in Europe. Is like, it's we already, basically China created some sort of like surveillance state, and now the US with Palantir is following the process, right? It's creating the Western surveillance apparatus in a similar way, right? So it's like, and like, okay, we can criticize China, we can criticize the BRICS, but like, to be honest, it's US, it's pretty bad too. It's like, I don't know, it's like, it's all very bad. For me, what I like is that this whole new concept of the world, post Ukraine invasion or Ukraine special military operation, whatever you want to call it, is that at least we are getting into a multipolar world. So which then plays again to my very simple strategy of like I prefer to have more options. I don't care if like it's all bad, but the more options we got, the better. So the more diversification. And unipolar world was not so good because only America dictating everything, and like, and whatever the other foreign entities that control America, and whatever you want to interpret out of that, it's complicated, right? So I think it's good that we have more of a diversification, and then we have more like the BRICS, and then you have the Western world and whatever else will emerge, and multiple things in between. I think that's good. And I lost a bit of the thread here of the question. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Just the big brother is watching, so we should be like, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Careful.
he will be watching anyway your private emails and your conversations, bro. Like, it's over. Like, I think it's like we need to be careful with what we say, but like, to be honest, like,
Nah.
it's like it's all
You can't
triangulated.
escape.
It's all
Yeah, you can't
triangulated
escape,
already.
bro, sure.
You thought about
Yeah.
something, and it's already written somewhere, my friend.
No, that's the thing, because they now the large language models know how we think and know how we react to certain information. So
Yeah.
even if you don't say anything, they're gonna know what you think. Well, let's get back to crypto, man. Because
Yeah.
if we start talking about this, I'm gonna be talking for 10 hours, and I won't stop. So
Exactly. We can do one special one time about it. But yes, the world is a messy place, exciting messy place, and crypto plays a very important role in this because it offers an alternative for us to hedge what the future of the world would be, and say like, oh, it's not the governments. We have potentially infrastructure that let us coordinate without having to have those intermediaries that can kind of like really control us in whatever ways they want. So that is a cool thing about crypto.
yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, even crypto, just as Dren mentioned a few minutes ago, no one cares about decentralization anymore. Everyone cares about profit. I even wrote an article about how capitalism is literally just eating crypto alive. Although
Well,
Bitcoin is literally a
crypto-
capitalist, it's a capitalist idea.
It's like crypto becomes capitalism on steroids, right? Because it's like
Exactly.
it's like because it enables us to go 24/7, 7 days a week, and we enables us to create all those like you can create. And obviously, I mean, like, it used to be an interesting space from like people with like real ideas and like really wanting to change stuff and so on. But like right now, there's a lot of like, there's a lot of inequality in the world, and there's a lot of like opportunism and so a lot of like when you have like some industry that is kind of like you can do scam easier and you can run away and whatever, people take advantage of that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, crime is currently legal. I don't know if you've seen in crypto, everything is legal at the moment. It's crazy. So I just think like I think this is good for the industry. It may be weird, saying this today, but I think this is good because we can experiment, right? Yes, people will lose money. That's horrible, but in the general sense of things, probably someone will create something new that will probably like save us from this surveillance.
I
future that we're having.
prefer to have shit going. I think the price of having crime and whatever it's worth if we can have like some sort of like private decentralized system,
Exactly. Yep.
because it's worse than like you get it. I mean, I think the price is worth it.
Yeah, and I like it makes sense in terms of, for example, income distribution within crypto in itself. Like, it used to feel more Adam Smithian in a way in the past, in terms of leaving it to the market, and you would earn depending on how you would perform in some ways. But like today, it feels like the average Joe is unable to earn, for example, in crypto. And like you think of the likes of Pump.fun or all of these launch pads that made it possible for people to invest $10 and come out of it, with $100K, for example, get rich overnight. And
But
all
this is
that,
casino, right?
that's casino. And like if you look at the actual data, it says, I read somewhere that less than 0.04% of people, for example, in Pump Fund, made more than $10,000.
For sure, man.
And that's like it all comes down to that.
It all comes down to the
Atlas implied,
gangs
you know.
that manage the liquidity and manage the Ponzi
Yes,
scheme.
the
and
rich get richer, and
it's like
yeah.
crypto, like right now, given also the uncertainty in the market, a lot of it is a Ponzi scheme in a sense, not Ponzi scheme, but like, let's say a multi-level marketing
Yeah.
activity. Let's say like it's a multi-level marketing business, right? Some people that they run this multi-level marketing thing and so on. It's like we need to provide the real value for the world in order for this to go away and in order for us to have sustainability. But like everything is overextended right now. AI is like somehow bubbly. American debt is at its limits. Global debt is like complicated. Geopolitics is, and then crypto is one very risky asset class on the edge of everything. So obviously, and we're not providing value. So we are like basically, we are providing value, but we're not yet providing the killer use cases. So basically, we are speculating on a future usage of something. And then in that sense, it's just like, what is the premium on that when everything else is like risky? Like people will go risk off, right? And that will suffer. And I think also even Bitcoin, like Bitcoin is still so correlated to the Nasdaq. Like the whole decoupling idea is like, okay, I've been waiting for a few years. I keep watching the charts. For me, it still looks very much similar. There's no. But yeah, it's a long process, everything is a long process. Elon Musk is telling us that the self-driving cars is coming since, I don't know, whatever. It never comes, like now it's closed. But like everything, if you're building a company yourself, building something, like if you're an entrepreneur, if you're looking at the future, you're always like overestimating the ability to get something done. And shit is more complex when it reaches reality. And so it takes time.
So in terms of value, I think crypto as an industry is not providing enough value to, let's say, the traditional people or the masses at this point, and that's why we're stuck where we are, right? But I also think that there's quite a lot of a range of products and sectors in crypto that can change that can be appealing to the masses, and that can basically, through account abstraction, through keeping it as simple as possible, and through user experience, I think they can lead the next wave of mass adoption, or basically, they can be the pioneers of this whole thing. So do you think, and how do you think you can do that with Anitya? Because I've tried your product, I like your product, it's easy to use, I've built worlds with it, but I just want to hear from your perspective, because I see the vision, but what's your vision?
When you go to the supermarket and pay with credit card, do you know how a credit card machine system works? Like, that's I think a bit us in the crypto. We need to build shit that people don't need to know how it works in order to engage. Like the fact that people need to know how it works and they need to think, it's not a product first thing, right? So our approach, if you look even our website, it's like, okay, we have a whole protocol idea like in a light paper, but our website doesn't even talk about blockchain. Because it's not the target audience. It's like our target audience is creators, right? And we want creators to build, like, there's two things that we are enabling creators to do. One is enabling creators to transition from this layer of the internet where it's like 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional, and build like infrastructure, build applications, build games, build training, build all kinds of things that work in 3-dimensional space very easily. And our target is visual people, and enable visual people to do that. Then the second thing that we want to do is like enable any kind of creator, because we believe every kind of creators will want to build in 3-dimensional because we think that's the next wave of how like applications will work. We see a bunch of glasses coming, and we have big conviction on that. So the next thing that we do is enable those creators to attribute all the processes of their creativity. So like basically when you are creating something, basically we have a system of like recording and enabling you to in a private way create ZK, like zero knowledge proofs of like, hey, I have created this asset, I used AI or not, I've done it in this way. So we want to enable creators to build their sort of proof of creativity portfolios, right? So like imagine something like Behance, but with proof of creativity. So where you know, okay, this is actually built by Atis, he actually done it in a way, and then build tools for you to be able to let others interact with your portfolio in ways that you determine. So it's basically, we're building those tools for creators to be sovereign, own what they do, and then transition their portfolio into this next internet layer. Right now, we're very much at the start of it, so we have a very easy tool for you to build immersive experiences. We are transitioning, opening more for AR, and we're getting more and more towards applications and connecting more stuff. We are AI first, so you can prompt things. We're adding a bunch of other AIs. We're looking into also adding agents so they can do stuff in the world. So there's a lot that can be done in order for you to create immersive applications. But also what we're doing is this universal attribution system, which you could think about something like what Story Protocol is doing, but very focused on visual creators, right? Like people that create, visual creators, people that are dealing with creativity. But our approach is not to create a blockchain and so on. Our approach is to create like a tool that people can use and they can visually do stuff, but also creates the attribution on the background for them. But like the blockchain is just a consequence of like, it's just a tool to solve the problem that AI enables you to copy everything. There's a lot of fraud going on in the internet, and a lot of the platforms take a lot of the cut of everything you do. So we want to give the power to the people to be able to control their portfolios, to be able to prove what they do, and bring it into the next layer of interaction, which we think is 3-dimensional. And yeah, we also see a lot is going to change in the ways that we interact with app stores and stuff like this because of the legislational context. And we just see there are very interesting opportunities coming up there. So, and that's how we see it. So crypto is just a technology that enables us to do more sovereignty for creators, and that's why it's part of what we do.
But like, I can't help but think if you make it easier for people on so many levels, like if I don't need to know code in order to build a 3D and VR world, what's like the trade-off? I mean, because there shouldn't necessarily be a trade-off, because
there
I
are
always
trade-offs for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I always take the example of MetaMask and Phantom, for example. It's not like Phantom made it like so different from MetaMask in terms of, but the user experience is like night and day. I remember myself in 2020 trying to work out how MetaMask worked, and it looked to me like rocket science. But like today, you can easily teach someone the ropes on how to use a Phantom wallet, for example. But
there's still some flaws there in Phantom Wallet, really, because they make you so fast that they forget to remind you that you have to save your source, your initial code, otherwise you can't come back there. And I bet so many people are fucking losing their money on this.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, so in terms of like what you guys are building, what are like some of these trade-offs, if there are, and like, can you uncover all these misconceptions maybe so that people?
So first, we are not Roblox, so we're not trying to do a like pre-create a place where like everybody comes and plays. We are a tool that enables creators to build their own portfolio and market and sell and do whatever they want with their own content, and they can create some reputation around their portfolio. So that's how we see it. then secondly, the fact that we are targeting visual people, there are trade-offs. For example, you can't really like get something super personalized yet, but we have something that we created called Events Manager, which is kind of like a way of you to kind of visually code by creating logics. And we are working around getting some sort of like NCPs, like that will be able to like help you build, so you will be able to use AI to build. But like our ambition is like we will eventually enable some code injections and so on. You need to be very careful about that. But like, and we're also looking into like having an SDK eventually, so that people can just build their own backend and then they can use our tool to render whatever they want. Because the point of what we are trying to do is we're looking at the future, and we're looking at the future is glasses. The future is like you are projecting stuff inside of normal glasses and so on. So those glasses have two major challenges. One, processing power is never going to be like a computer. So you need to be super light, which we are. And their battery is really small. They need to be very, very efficient. And we are both, that's where we optimize for low battery devices, for these devices that we really, for us, we constitute the interface through which people interact with this new technology. Then we are very different from Unreal in that sense, because they are really high fidelity. Even Unity is pretty heavy if you think it's like a big, say Titanic is a bad word. They're a big monster full of things. They're very complete, full of things. But like we're built on something called Godot, which is like the biggest open source game engine. One of the Godot, it exists for I think 13 years. Godot, it's the fastest growing game engine. Everybody's flocking there. It's really exciting. It's for coders. The co-founder of Godot is our co-founder and CTO as well. So we are built on like a very solid open source stack, and we make that open source stack available for people that not necessarily do not know how to code. So yeah, I don't know if I answer your question.
Yeah, and like it makes sense. I mean that you don't position yourself as competitors to these traditional engines like Unity or Unreal, and it makes sense. But like, what about other competitors within the space? For example, there are a couple that I know. So like, what would you say you guys do different and better?
Which one, for example? Let's
for example, Portals.
Good question. So Portals, I think, look, Portals is great, and they do a great job actually at making what they did, and I appreciate their work. And I think like they want to be Roblox, right? So that's their goal. They want to be Roblox with Web3. So it's good. I think that's worth it. They are built on Unity. So basically their code, they're basically a plugin on Unity. So they're like very dependent. So if you want to build on Portals, like if you want to build anything decent on Portals, you need to learn Unity. So that means you need to learn a game engine with code that's going to take you months. First of all, our engine, you can just learn without having to install a plugin on something already existing. So it's our code. It's built on Godot, but like we have 100% freedom on how we can shape this. And then I think like the Roblox vision is great, but like we see ourselves more like Webflow than it is, like we really want to be like a really decent, very good infrastructure that enables people to build applications. And we think like, hey, the future is going to be like, we think that the future is going to be less than like the App Store, where you kind of like go there and there's some killer applications. I think a lot of applications will be built like based on your need, right? So it's like, imagine you wearing some glasses. You say like, what do you want to see? There's going to be all these MCPs. There's going to be all these APIs from like your watch, your lamps, your whatever, the infrastructure from the bus timeline. I think you would just build together whatever, how you want to see stuff, because you're going to have AI that is going to help you. So I don't think necessarily you're going to You know what I mean? You don't have to, like, I think you're going to change a lot the way that we build applications, because it's going to be so much more easy for us to build. And why do you need to fit into a framework that others do if, like, you can pull this data and create based on templated things, ways like Notion does really nicely. I think it could be better. Notion's for me, I love Notion, but it's too slow. Like, when you want to look for something, it just takes like this extra milliseconds that like frustrates you in the everyday life. They can improve on that, but they prove a concept of like, you build this like general approach to kind of organization, and then lets people pull data from all kinds of things, and like and people build all kinds of stuff with it, and it works. And I think I see the future more in that direction, and we want to build for like real use cases. We want to see restaurant owners hiring a designer to build like an interface for people when they enter the restaurant. We want to see a shopping mall building an AI agent that welcomes the new people that come into the mall and shows the stores. We want to see like people building training for manual work, which they already are, like for example Coca-Cola, for training their employees. We want to see all kinds of applications. We want to see people building like, okay, like, hey, I get the API from this like bus system in my city. I get the API for my Hue lamps here. I get all the information for my fridge, from all the stuff. I built some sort of like Zapier kind of interaction with them. I see this visually. And this is kind of my operating software where I pull the data, where I change the things. So I'm very excited about this kind of stuff, this kind of future where we like kind of almost become like a bit more punk in the way that we develop our technology, that we kind of like scramble it together and we have more control. And then I want to decide who can interact with what I build. And then I want to be able to prove that this is mine, so so we go on the sides. Like, we are not comparable to portals in that sense. We're not comparable to like, I don't know, Sandbox, although I think they're doing a good job. We're not comparable, like, there's so many companies doing this, but we think like we sit somewhere in between, like this sort of Webflow meets story protocol for and with a Behance sort of like portfolio management with Web3 characteristics kind of thing, so it's like, it's a different thing, and we are like aiming for real use cases that people can. We want to have people building stuff that they use like all the time, not just a game that we want a useful stuff in. There's a lot of cool frameworks, for example Google XR, now also what Meta is doing, even what Snap is doing. So there are a lot grooming already in that area, so we just want to be like a really cool tool for people to build that.
See, I'm surprised because I did check your product. I never thought of it this way, and this is literally one of the best, in my opinion, ways to actually approach the whole industry, because there's not many people building this, or even at all, I think. And of course, I'm talking about blockchain as well. So we know about like the vision. You got the vision figured out. You got the mission figured out, and you got the team quite like, I'm not gonna call it powerful. That sounds too corporate. I'm gonna call it solid. The team's solid, right? So what's next for Anitya? Like, how do you think you will proceed to the next step? Or are we gonna have TG anytime soon? Because I don't know. Most founders don't like this question.
So right now we are on a campaign. It's called as a treasure hunts campaign, and this treasure hunts campaign is a collaboration that we did with Rogues. It's an NFT collection, really really nice, run by Digin founder, who's an amazing founder in the space, who you should also interview. And basically, this is a treasure hunts campaign. So basically, we launched last week the DeGods experience. The week before it was the Rogues, and then last week was DeGods experience. So basically, it's a token gated world where you can go and earn points in our earn system, we have like a loyalty system for each ecosystem where you can like earn points, and that system will distribute 7% of our tokens to everybody. So it's kind of like a system where you work for access to a pool of allocation, and and inside of that system, inside of the treasure hunts, you also have some hunts that you can hunt our NFT collection, which is called Lifeforms. We built it with a nuclear engineer, some really amazing art, and it's like that collection. You can also earn some parts of, like, find them inside of the worlds, and so there's hunts. This week we announced with another major community on Solana, and so you can go there if you guys want to be whitelisted. I'm happy to get your wallets, and I send you some infos, and then you can come and hunt yourself. It's very fun, and also our earn system is really cool. Like you can just like, create content about us. There's many ways you can earn points, and that's where we distribute the pool of tokens. So first is this NFTs. So we are mainly collaborating with a lot of like communities that care about digital IP, and there's like NFT communities, there are DAOs and so on. And basically, you can then earn the life forms, or there will be some short time opportunity for people to also do a bit of a pre-sales. We have already like a large list of interested communities on the pre-sales. So then we do the pre-sales, and we will mint those NFTs, and those NFTs will enhance your power in the earn program. So if we have several communities that already have multiples, those NFTs will be like very powerful on that. And then actually today, after this meeting, I'm setting up the DAO, which is an NGO in Switzerland, which is going to be hosting the live forms. And I have the appointment after this meeting. And basically, once you stake the life forms, you get this like power in the reward program, and then you will be able to get governance rights in the DAO that then will also receive a bit of the token. Not just the token, like the people that participated will get the token attributed to them, but also parts of the revenue of the token go towards this NGO for the overall community that care about digital IP, to, depending on how many life forms they have staked, be able to have decision making on how this money gets allocated for us to improve the digital IP in the community. So it's a way to bring the community together, and we're bringing like several important communities, mainly on the Solana ecosystem, because we really want to kind of like have those sort of like meta organizations that help the ecosystem move further, and that is a way. This is the first step where you can kind of come closer to our TGE, right? You can like engage through your to building, through working and engage in our ecosystem, and we're very generous in that process. And then we are talking about token only like next year. There's a lot of things we still need to deliver. We are very conservative about like, we build, and when things really start to work, we go for the next step. So we're still figuring out how to make the onboarding process for builders better, and we are now starting to build the portfolio management, so the portfolio, so that you can build your portfolio. And then we are adding this whole attribution system, and we're gonna polish this really, really nicely. And when we are like really the basics are working really well, then we will launch that. So it's like probably second quarter or third quarter next year.
Right, so like now I have a couple of 3 questions that I want to make, and think of these questions like they're coming from a potential user. And because I don't know like how high are the stakes in the treasure hunts, but like I know that based on what I saw, that like Web3 IP attribution is like at the very core of what you're trying to build. And so like how do you like navigate the balance between like true ownership for creators and the potential risks of like over financialization in gaming? And like are there like have there been cases where there were like bots or over competition that can maybe dilute the vibes in a way? And like is there like P2E fatigue in a way?
For us, like basically what we are showing in the treasure hunts is that you can easily build token gated experiences, and you can distribute rewards within the game easily, and we are shipping that so that it's possible for a visual person to build like a kind of a Web3 game. There is no risk of bots in a sense that like basically the only way for you to play is do you own rogues, do you own a DGods, or do you own any of the partner communities? Like if a bot is owning a DGods, then can figure out how to come into our game and do it, then congratulations for the bot builder. He has it figured out. But like, you know, like it's I think it's like we're not want to build the next big game, but we want to make it available for Web3 communities to gamify their interactions for a very, very cheap, for very cheaply, right? We don't want to make it as a big barrier, and we want to make it fun. For example, we are working on making the games being playable from directly inside of Discord and also Telegram. So you don't even need to leave Discord or Telegram because it's all embedded. Like stuff that like it's just gonna be like that part of the business, that part of like this Web3 IP sort of like use case. It needs to be fun, you know. It needs to be affordable and fun for people to play stuff and have fun. We go live on our treasure hunts. The people love it. It's so fun. It builds community. People laugh. People earn stuff. They just like, it's nice, you know. It's real. It's humans. It's fun. And it's better than just having an AMA on Discord, because we go live on Discord and people like all playing the game. They're sharing their screams. They're laughing. They're connecting. That's all it's all about, right? People having fun, and it's just like being nice. And so like, yeah, like obviously there are bots, you know, bots are everywhere. And like I would even question how much of the internet is still alive, you know. Are there still humans in the internet? How many of them? Like, who is human? Like, are there still humans? Where did the humans gone? When did the bots take over, you know? Like, kind of like, you know, it's a lot. But like, yeah, exactly. Now it's like, it's literally dead. If it's not dead, they will kill the you know, like life forms. Our lore is very much built on the story of Lauren Finch, which is this guy who worked for the American government, you know, special agency, and he had to run away, and he's found out some stuff that he was not supposed to find out about how things are interconnected. And so there is a whole story. You can go to our website or even to our X about him, you know, and basically, yeah. It's like the life forms were seeded, you know. They are kind of like DNA that was seeded a long time ago. And you know, like if you go all over the history, like there are indications that like basically like our intelligent life and maybe humans were like sort of like DNA that has been like manipulated, and like there are a lot of like, it's just a lore, right? But it's like people are gone crazy around this, and we build a lot of like our community builds a lot of content around this, and we have a lot of videos and we have a lot of content. And so yeah, we like to entertain this sort of like alternative histories, and we like to always, you know, it's not about what is right and truth. It's about having people that know how to question anything and be critical about this and use their imagination, and always think about what is like. There is this there's this Latin thing, right? How do you say? Who benefits? You know, who benefits? What is it called? It's called cui bono. You know, like, which means like, it's like who stands to gain from this. I think it's a lot. We need to always think about like who stands to gain from anything that is happening there. And yeah, right now, back to the internet being dead. Obviously, right now there's a lot of bots factories that probably they are gaining of this, and like the thing is, I think one of the major crises we have in the world is like we had like the Soviet Union, and we had the Iron Curtain, and like the world was divided, and there was all this like splitting, and then like we have this unipolar world, and then like. But back then it was like the conflict that's around atomic war and so on. But now it's the technological warfare, right? It's like informational warfare. The thing about the informational warfare is that everything is valid now. Like, for example, like what happened to Samsung last week? I don't know if you follow this, like basically they figure out that there's some sort of like some sort of installed thing in every Samsung phone on the software and hardware by state, like that it's spying on everybody that has a Samsung phone, right? And now China is banning Samsung, Brazilians banning Samsung. It's a big backlash. So the technology became the battlefield of warfare. And even like for NATO or whatever, like if you are part of NATO alliance, NATO alliance is a technological warfare thing. So basically the brain stays in the US, and then all the others get on the machines to all execute. But like even in Ukraine, like okay, the US says it doesn't do, but like all these advanced guns and whatever, like the Ukrainian government cannot do this. Like it is America. It's like it became all this thing, and then in the middle of this we have all these bots, and we have all these interests of like governments influencing opinion, and poof, it becomes a mess. So we don't even know what's real or not. And now with generative AI, everything it's becomes like really fakeable, and then you need attribution.
And it's funny, like, because you don't see this thing be televised. You don't, like in the past you would see wars, and like news would be like a tool to incite hate within people toward a specific, let's say, state or country. And if you think about wars, there's always like the monetization aspect of it. Like if you think about how many people were murdered, for example, in a specific war, you can put a statistical value on a life. You can monetize that, and you can actually calculate like what the damage is towards a specific country, for example. And when you think about all cyber attacks and all these AI proliferation and privacy concerns and all these, if you monetize these, it amounts to much more than like even world wars combined, but people don't shed light to that, and like the average person is not aware that cyber wars and all that are ongoing as we speak, and they have a lot more financial impact than physical wars, even though it's a bit unethical maybe for me to say it like that, but that's just the truth. I mean, and we see none of that. Like we learn none of it. And we had, like, when we had one of the very first episodes, we were talking about why TVs were so expensive, like flat screen TVs were so expensive in the past. And one of the reasons is because they weren't able to get data from the users. They weren't spying on the users. And today, with all these smart TVs, they do that. They get a lot of data, and they sell that data, and that's why they were able to lower the prices of TVs. And like it's just the scale when you think about it. And like I like to go deeper into it, but like at the same time, the deeper you go, it's like a rabbit hole that, I mean, you can't really find the answer.
Yeah, but there's no point. The point is not finding the answer; is to be critical about who is up to profiting out of everything that is happening, and not just getting this like cheap version of reality that gets offered by mainstream media to us and say like, yeah, I'm in. And I think there's been many points in history where things became more and more clear that there is like that things are kind of questionable. Like you can see it from like 9/11, but even like COVID was like, I don't know how it was for you guys, but like it's like, man, like there's a patience and critical thinking, challenging thing that comes to us. There is a point like I think humans need to be very, very critical about what gets sold to them, and and I think like attribution becomes very, very valuable in a space where everything can be manipulated and faked. So you having the blockchain to prove that you actually done something that is actually done by you, it becomes ever more important in this world of confusion. So this is one of the core pillars of our thesis then as well.
Yeah, and I mean it makes sense. But like now going back to Anitya, and you're right to say that people should question everything. And like personally, I like to think of myself that I do question everything, and I'm a very big skeptic of airdrops, like because that's just a personal experience. I haven't had a single positive experience with airdrop, so you can kind of understand where this is coming from. But like I wanted to ask you, like how much of your current traction is genuine product love? I mean, I know that you said that you see people on Discord that play the game continuously and they love playing the game, but like how do you know that some of them are not just points farming for the airdrop? Because I've seen like a lot of potentially good projects fail because of people joining just for the sake of earning something when the TG goes live. And so I just want to hear your take on this. I mean,
the effort the effort that requires to be active on our thing, I don't think it's worth it even for a bot to make, or even it's just like like you get most points by creating worlds yourself, by doing things that actually like you need to be genuinely interested, because it's gonna take you time. It's not like if you're, I think for people that want to learn this, it's a great opportunity to get a stake in the future of that. But like if not, it's too much work. Like it it's not really profitable for people just to be like, if there is one way that it can be profitable, because we have a referral system in our airdrop, and some people have made a lot of points on referrals, but then all the multiples, they come with like sort of real engagement. So it's like we've put a lot of thought onto making quality people win, and quantitative people have a stake in it, because it's okay to have quantity, but it's very focused on quality. The tasks and the things that people build, it's just very, very focused. And we have this part of the airdrop, but then we also have like a huge amount of our token that will be that is part to be distributed for the community, because it's all about us. We want to create something and we want to give value to the community that then can partake on the success of this. But yeah, I think the trick is to make things. It's always the thing. You are gaming with the bots, you're gaming with the farmers, but then that's why you need to create disproportional, quality-driven things for people that really care, to be able to be on top of it and prioritize them, right, as well. But it's a game, it's like you need to gamify everything. Yeah. But yes, I agree. Maybe there's probably like some, maybe half of like our people in our earn program probably are there for the token, or if not more. But it's the airdrop gets distributed to the ones that really contribute more disproportionately there, and then they play and so on. So it's okay also. Like it's like you're gonna be farmed a bit, but we are very aware of this, and we thought very carefully about this.
I mean, the whole industry is currently working like that, and I see it as a double-edged sword, right? But I think it's gonna mature as a process in this industry, because gamification in crypto is literally why crypto is where it is right now. That's my personal opinion. Because, for example, Bitcoin, you could have earned Bitcoin doing surveys. You know this better than me. Back in 2011, you probably could have earned Bitcoin doing surveys and playing some mini games or whatever. So I
Yeah,
get
but
the
you didn't
concept
earn any
behind it.
shares on Facebook or Airbnb. I was one of the first
Exactly.
years users of Airbnb or Facebook. Where's my shares? Where's my tokens, man? I won't be.
Exactly.
We got millions now. We generated, and we were like early believers. I was very early believer on Airbnb. I made them so much profit. I helped them so much to go. I told all my friends, "Where is this?" I guess see nothing
Exactly.
of it. So I think there is something to be said if you have genuinely used and then you contabilize, you account for this. And I think this is cool because you want people to be able to be participating on your growth. But then there's opportunistic people there and that are just there for the short term. So you need to gamify, making things like baking stuff that people have to deliver quality things to earn real points. You can make some small points for things that people can just gamify in a bot, and then you can make a lot of disproportional points for people that actually make real stuff, and then you solve the problem in some
Exactly.
ways.
It's like there's levels to the game, and
Yeah,
that's I
exactly.
think levels are
Exactly.
I mean, it's the way.
You also have to create some low levels for the bots as well,
Exactly. Of
because
course.
otherwise they go and they shit talk you, you know. If you kick all the bots out, they start shit talking you. It's very bad. They are so fucking, they take you hostage, you know. It's so bad. It's so bad that it's like, we're like, oh, kick all these bots out. Yeah, and on the program you need to, you know, like, but then you like don't kick them all out like this, because you need to gamify it in a way that at the end you distribute the rewards to the people that have gotten the NFTs, that have staked the NFTs. You just make a whole game that is like for the people that really like were there. Because otherwise, if you just kick them, they start shit talking your project. They automatize for shit talk because they lose their farming money. It's fucked up.
Yeah. It's like there are these minions then that if you kick and you don't want in your project because they're automated and boss, they're just gonna go after you and call you everything and try to bring you down. Although they usually fail to do that because
Yeah.
they're gonna go into like this probably spam section and replies and everything. So.
Yeah, you just need to like, you know, don't fight directly against it. You just need to let them pass, and it's a game, you know. Like it's like you have to look into the matrix and dodge the bullets, you know.
Yep. So again, talking about the future, right? You have quite a lot of products. I'm gonna call them products at this point. And you've talked about the token as well, but like, is there any specific thing you would like to share in terms of what could the community and us as well expect from Anitya as a product or a service that has not been announced yet? Because I'm trying to get some alpha out of you. We got a lot of alpha from you, but like we need more.
Yeah. So like there's a lot coming in terms of like product. How it's going to, I mean, our goal is to make sure that you don't see it as multiple products. It's like you see it like, you know, as a hub. You come into your hub, you have your portfolio. We're adding a bunch of AIs, so you can kind of centralize a bunch of AIs for creation, and then you can build all your content, register all your content into gamification and 3D. Like we are just working to make that as smooth as possible. Our obsession is like we do a lot of user interviews and user research, and we keep working on the bottlenecks, right? So we are not like, we are very user centric. So it's like we have the users and they are engaged, and we need to make it easier for them every day. Then they can invite their friends because they say it's so easy, and that. That's how it grows, and we are very excited about tackling a problem that I think, if we solve the problem of creator attribution and portfolio of proof of creativity, I think the potential value of this network and reputation is, the upside is very big. And I think, you know, it's one of the things, you know, we are aiming very high, but we are down to earth, building day to day, you know, and like that's you know, I've helped a company to build an ICO in 2017. We raised $12 million. We gave the money back to the community because we didn't manage to build the product. We didn't have the technical knowledge, and we hired some externals. It was bad. So, but we gave the money back to everybody. We spent 2 million, but we gave more money back because it was Ethereum. Anyways, I'm just saying, like, we have like an ethics of like taking it time and building it properly, and it takes time, it takes money, it takes a lot of, but we want to be there for the long run. So hopefully we get everything together in the ways that we are getting so far to be able to make it. And when we make it, the upside is going to, like, we aim our product to change everyday's life. We want our product to be part of people's everyday life, right? So that's our aim. We don't want to be like just a kind of a Roblox, a gaming thing. We are a tool that gets hidden inside of the everyday operating system of XR, which we think is going to be part of everything. And we want to give creators this sort of like attribution that they deserve to be able to be sovereign around their creativity. And if we solve those things well, I think those early engagers now will have some really, if they stick to it, right? If they don't dump it after the thing, I think in like a decade, they will be just collateralizing it to buy their whatever buildings, whatever they want. If they wait 5 years, they might be able to use it for some apartments or like. But it's definitely something that could have a very, very interesting upside for people.
Yeah, and in the time where, I mean, the whole cycle from 2024. Okay, let's go back to 2023. From 2023 to 2025, most projects that I've heard talk about their project, or I've seen how they operate, they don't do it like you. They just want to grab the money, and they don't think long term, and I like that.
I need to think long term,
man.
A lot. I mean, it's like, man, nothing gets built from a day one day to the other. It's like
not all didn't get built in a day. So
yeah, exactly. You need to be like consistent in there, and it takes time. But yeah, we stick to it, and we get there someday.
Okay, so yeah, to wrap this whole thing up, it was an amazing episode, by the way. We really, really loved that, both me and Jen. So where do you think the industry will be in 5 to 10 years time, since we're talking about the long term? In terms of, I mean, you can attack this question in any from any dimension you want, or from any perspective, because it could be regulation, it could be adoption, it could be technology wise. Towards yours.
This felt like an HR question.
Yeah. So basically, I think the world in 5 years, there's like, if we didn't have a world war, it would be like. Probably this is a good scenario. I think like governments have put the CBDCs in place. There's like digital ID everywhere, or many places. Some countries push back. So I think crypto will play a very important role on privacy, and a very important role on, like, there's going to be private blockchains for all kinds of stuff. I feel like attribution is going to be huge. Like, people would need to, like, you don't know if somebody send you a video, if it's theirs, if you can approve with their wallet or if their identity. So you'll be like this kind of place where attribution really matters. And I think that we're going to have like XR, like we're gonna have glasses for everything. So I think we're gonna look much less in our smartphones. So we're gonna see stuff around and that we interact with. And yes, I think people will also like make a big trade between like the time that they stay online. So I think applications will be much more minimal, and people will be like, it will be an interesting. I think it will be an interesting place. But I think like for blockchain, it's a privacy attribution will be big pillars of the blockchain. And yes, and I think that XR will take over a lot of like our interactions, because it doesn't make sense for us to be holding a smartphone if we have a better way to look through a glass. So yeah, and we think we will solve privacy in the sense that we have the ZK proof, like, but like it's not the core of what we're doing. It's more about the attribution and about the facilitating tools for people to be able to take their futures in their hands and shape this XR future. So
Well, Pedro, we want to thank you a lot for taking the time to join us today, and you were basically answering a lot of my questions before I even had the chance to ask them. So that's how good the discussion was, and like we really appreciate you joining us today. And let's link up in Breakpoint if you will make it there. And yeah,
Nice.
I mean, thanks a lot.
yeah, thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation. Yeah, let me know. I mean, I didn't talk so much about the tool and so on, so not sure where it makes sense. I can send you some videos of how it works if you have any place you want to add. But I guess, and I also send you some videos about like some informations about our reward program and how people can engage and so on. But yeah, I think it's more interesting for people to understand in these formats why we do what we do and how we see the future is going to unfold. And so they can really see if they, because everything takes time, and it's a big commitment for somebody to engage with any new technology. So I think it's thanks so much for giving the space for us to have this conversation.
Well, that was fun.
As always.
And
Heard about sorry to
yeah.
Have you heard about the project that's doing what Anitya's doing right now?
Like I thought portals were
Same.
similar, but like
Or Roblox. I mean,
yeah,
crypto, but still everyone knows Roblox.
but like huge respect to these guys, and I'm really happy we had the chance to have Pedro today with us virtually, of course. So yeah, I mean, let's wrap up, and thank you for listening, tuning in, and make sure to follow us on all our socials, and we'll see you next time.